Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Figuring out the audio. All right, so what did I wanted to talk about? The video was the interior of this car. That's right. I clicked on a YouTube video. It was about the Alfa Tonale, 2024 Alfa Tonale, and Buddy was doing a review of the car in Europe. And the title of the video said, Alfa Tonale won 3 awards or something along those lines, right? I remember the number three. He gets to the first thing he talks about. The first award he talked about was the interior of the Tonale, right? Now, this is a Dodge Hornet. Okay, didn't turn on. And it's got the exact same interior, except for the top part of this dash. They just put this in. But the Tonale has rounded vents and a little swoopy thing on the passenger side. However, the rest of this is all the same. Speed cluster, the screen from this part down, the entire interior of the car is exactly the same as in the Tonale. And the reason why, one of the reasons why, well, it was the reason why I bought this car. So I got to, the dealer brought it around, and I sat in the passenger seat for the first little bit, and then we switched seats. And I remember sitting in here. I laughed a little bit because there was some trim hanging out, and I knew it was a Dodge, and I knew it was an Alfa, and neither are great for quality control, right? So that's exactly what that was the premise I worked off of. I didn't have my hopes high. We'll say that. Maybe I'll put it up here. Yeah, we'll do that. Now, I sat in a bunch of other cars, and I was actually seriously really depressed. I was going out and I had to buy a new car, and it had to be an SUV. It had to be something that could pull a trailer. And from what I was looking at, I was like, for the money you pay, I was seriously depressed. they were all they're all drab and utilitarian, I guess. The biggest flair of them all was, putting in chromed plastic vent things and chromed plastic accents, and it's like that was it. There was no style, no design, no, I don't know. This thing impressed me because, and it's not just how it looks and all of that. It's because there's different lines going on here. There's different textures. There's different shapes. There's different things going on in here, and it all feels and looks really good. I'm doing this video because I noticed in watching them, like, the camera's always facing the back of the car, and all you see is this grayscape of stuff behind me, and it looks, I don't know, it doesn't look any different than any other car that you know. But the thing here is that in the driver's field of view, literally, like from here to here, there's a lot of stuff going on. The red stitching, this Alcantara dash stuff, it's on the doors. Like, people sit in the passenger seat of my car for the first time. They go, "Wow, this is a good interior," and then they start touching things, and they're like, "Wow, this is really nice." And I really don't think nobody's ever said that about my Hondas. Nobody said that about my Toyotas. Nobody said that about a lot of the cars. And I was saying that when I was looking for cars. I'm sitting in these things going, okay, it's got the functionality of this and that. And I'm like, look at this cheap plastic. And you can tell it's the cheap stuff. I was in a Trailblazer. Hopefully this audio is still recorded. But let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Where you scratch the plastic. I don't mean really try to scratch it, but you just, you run your fingernail along it, it leaves the line, the white line, and then it never comes out, right? And I thought, I'll throw something in that bin of that Trailblazer, or some, you're going to scratch it with something. This car will look 10 years old a year from now, if it gets any use, right? And it's the same with the things on the door here. Where are we here? Down here on the door, where you scratch your feet, your shoes hit it going in and out. You always got to wipe it, right? Even on my Hondas would do that, where you'd scuff it with your dirty shoe, and then you'd wipe off the dirt and the scuff mark's still there. And even after trying to, whatever product you use, Armor All, whatever, you try to get rid of it, the scuff marks still stay there, right? That's the cheap plastic I'm talking about. This car doesn't have that. I'm still scuffing the doors. I'm still wiping off the dirt. As soon as I wipe off the dirt, the scuff mark is not noticeable. And I think that's saying something. Like, that's the quality of the interior of this thing. I know it's a Dodge, and yeah, I know it's an Alfa Romeo and things like that. We paid a premium price for these things, but the Ford Escape actually at this trim level was more expensive, believe it or not. Everybody's whining about how expensive these are. Go get a fully loaded Escape, and they're uglier. And you got to deal with Ford. I got to deal with Dodge, which is way worse. But yeah, like for the money you pay and going down the road, like I'm spending a lot of time in this car, and I'm really happy that even though it's a Dodge, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Stellantis, whatever, of all the cars out there, this had, of the ones that I saw anyway, this had the nicest interior. And that's saying something. If you don't care about the interiors, probably don't want to watch the video. But if you do care about the interiors of your car, especially if you're a person who cleans them, right? This thing is so easy. I just use water. I don't use product on anything. Give it a wipe down once in a while. The charger, it's nice and handy. I use it as a bin now. I don't use it as a charger. The bevels on things, like touching this car on the interior, it's really nice, and it doesn't feel clicky clacky. Everything's kind of put together. It doesn't feel cheap and tinny and flaky. Like the cheapest thing, the ugliest cheapest thing about this interior of this car is the top of this dash. It's the molded plastic thing, and it's just good. Wipe it down, and that's it. But the rest of this is absolutely gorgeous. Polished plastic. I'm not into that, but what works in here. Anyway, that's my thing about this Hornet. That's why I think it's a little bit of a hidden gem, especially down the road, and definitely worth whatever price you're paying for it. I know nobody wants to pay the price for it, but you do get what you pay for. That little engine is spirited. Love to hate it. Love to hate it. And I'll see you on the next one. Like and subscribe if you see something. Let me know if you know about that cheap black plastic stuff and the different grades of plastic, because there are different grades of plastic. And yeah, if you've got the interior of a Hornet, let me know. If you got the red seats or if you got the regular seats with the red stitching. I just got the GT Plus, and they got the leather vented whatevers, and they're kind of boring. I think they could have did like red on the rhombus or something like that. Anywho, yeah. I'll see you on the next one.